Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron. Now, for the benefit of those of you who are not familiar with the channel or are watching this channel for the first time, the reason why it is called Uncommon Sense because here on this platform we talk about everyday issues where we try to find logical solutions. Um, But not everyone uses logic. For that reason, it is called uncommon sense. I just want to let everybody know that right now I'm live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. And I've just been notified that due to some technical difficulties with Twitch, all the live call-in shows will appear on Twitter, not on Twitch. As always, I want to give a huge shout out to all the people who are so fit to subscribe to my channel. And I just want to say to all of you, thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. I thank all those who allow me to enter into the devices. I also thank all those who watch my content on a regular basis. If you have not done so, what I'm going to ask you to do is please subscribe, like, and hit the bell notification to all. So, therefore, whenever I do go live, you will have the opportunity to catch it live or catch it on the playback. And I see here we have a comment. Okay. Yes, good evening, Magic Monata. Yes, tonight's topic is how to become a homeowner. Um, but before we get into that topic, one thing I'm gonna ask. Now, in a few minutes, I will drop the link and I will start sharing my life story, how I became a homeowner. Now, actually, I did talk about this topic last year, but I decided to talk about it again for those who did not hear the the stream because home ownership is a major step, it's a major achievement. And what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to explain to you what is the process necessary in order for you to become a homeowner. Now, before we get into the topic, there's a segment called "What the Heck This Is," and what I'm going to do is I'm going to share to you the latest story behind that. Okay. Now, I came across a story um, which really shocked me, which was a worker in Children Protective Services was fired for allegedly telling a 14-year-old girl to become a 304, which means a girl who sleeps around. Now, many of you don't know me, but I used to work in foster care for 5 years before I was a municipal employee, and I found it totally disgusting that people whose job is to uh, deal with the children who are in the foster care system for whatever set of circumstances to make sure that they are cared for and protected will resort to some sort of crap. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can share my screen. Okay, just give me a moment. Okay.
Hey guys, it's your welcome and welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are doing great. Thank you so much for tuning in once again. So I am back with another video. Shout out to Ishmael for sending me this video to react to. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. This is that viral video of the CPS employee who tells this 15-year-old girl to become a 304. Baby, you can't make this up. You can't make it up. So we're gonna jump into this video and give our 2 cents. Comment, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell to be notified I upload new videos. That is, you guys, on the way to 100K. Make sure you guys continue to support your girl. All right? Okay, that's the video. Here we go.
We begin tonight with a story that you'll only see here on Fox. An employee with Child Protective Services is caught on telling a 14-year-old girl in foster care to become a...
That's right, and this girl is one of hundreds of kids in CPS custody living in hotels all over the state. Fox 26's Randy Wallace, West Houston, here with this story. Randy, the exclusive.
Randy, 1 second before we get into what Randy has to say. First off, I'm trying to find out, why is this child even in the foster care system or in the CPS care? Like, what's going on? That's what I'm thinking. Let's go ahead and continue. Maybe we'll find that out.
Yeah, Jonathan. Now, earlier this year, a federal judge scored Child Protective Services for making kids available for in the CPS system. Now we have a case where an employee with that state agency is actually encouraging of a 14-year-old child.
Baby, listen, this is crazy as hell. Why is it these? And I've been so old or old hag. Like, it's a lot of these older, 304s who are encouraging these women to get into that lifestyle. It's like they missed out or whatever, or they missed it and they got too old and they washed up and they can't do it anymore. They encourage these young women to go that route and they have no remorse about it. They think that they're telling them the right things. This is crazy that there are people like this in the system who are encouraging these women to do this. This is insane. But all women are great, right? All women are doing the right thing. All women are on track, right? Let's continue.
Don't be a real home. Wouldn't they remove a child from a parent that told?
Girl, she said, if you gonna be a 304, be a real. You can't make this up. What in the world is going on? I told y'all, we're living in the Twilight Zone. This is not real. Baby, let's continue.
Told their child to be. They should. And they would. Keisha Pasley has 9 kids. She turned to Child Protective Services to help her with her 14-year-old daughter, who she says was running away and causing trouble at school.
My daughter told me that the worker had been telling her that she should do these things. So she said she decided to video her.
CPS is housing at a hotel. She's one of dozens in Harris County. In the video, she tells the CPS employee she wants food. The CPS worker tells her to be up. I mean, she was basically encouraging a 14-year-old girl to become a.
And listen, this is beyond sad. This is beyond tragic. And I can't help but to think, where is the child's father? And so we see now, the mother, she has 9 children. And so she's saying this one, was acting up in school and running away and all these things. Where's the father? We can't look at these types of videos and ignore the fact that there's no father presence. And there's a lot more going on. Now, right away, the CPS worker is trash. And it is reported that she has been fired. That she was fired as of August 10th. They did dismiss her or remove her of her position. So that's good. I think she should have been fired because this is not what you should be doing as a person who's supposed to help these young people. The girl had to go into the system, and the people working in there are the ones who are setting them up for failure. How can they get ahead? This is crazy. But I still can't help to wonder, why is this young girl in the situation in the first place? And her mother is there, but the mother has 9 children. This daughter is, out of hand, and it seems like she don't have any control over. I'm sorry, but I can't ignore that part. Why is she in the system as it is, and why isn't the father a part of this child's life to kind of get her on the straight and narrow? You know what I mean? And this is part of the problem when it comes to single mothers. I'm just saying, you can't look at situations behind closed doors, and why is the child acting out? You know what I'm saying? But anyway, y'all let me know what y'all think. Let's continue.
Giving her an incentive to do so, and almost of not having her needs being met if she didn't do what this woman very explicitly told her to do.
If the parent, was to do something like this to my child, I would be bashed. I would be called a horrible parent. I would lose my kids.
Basley filed a formal complaint with CPS.
This should not happen to girls.
Stop it right here. Okay. First of all, I just want to acknowledge that James is in the chat. Good evening, James. Now, I find this whole situation totally disgusting. First of all, I used to be a caseworker in the foster care system for 5 years before I started working for the city of New York. When I find it personally disgusting that we, or those of us who work as caseworkers in the foster care system, our job is to protect these children, make sure that these children are in a safe, nurturing environment for the time being until they could be reunited with their biological parents. And if that's not possible, to be placed in a home where someone can adopt them. The fact that you have this person whose sworn duty was to look after this child, because let me tell you something, a 14-year-old girl is technically still a child. And then when the child tells the worker that she wants food, she's hungry, that she's this, and her response is to become a 304. Now, let me just make this perfectly clear. The majority of workers that work in the foster care system, they do a great job taking care of the children under their care. Let me just give you an idea of what I used to do. I will be the one that I will prepare these people to become foster parents, and then they will become certified. So, and this is a job I took seriously. So for this person to do what she did was incredible. It was disgusting. And I'm glad she was terminated. But I think, in all fairness, I think charges should be levied against this worker for her conduct. But that being said, let's change the topic. Now we're going to go into the meat of the matter, which is how to become a homeowner. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the link, okay, and I'm going to put it in the chat. If anyone wishes to join the panel, they are free to do so. Anybody else that wants to enter a comment, they can do so as well. All that I ask, though, is please be respectful. Don't be rude. Don't be crude, or else you will be blocked. Now, as I stated before, 5 years ago, I became a homeowner. Now, let me explain to you what was the process. Back in 2017, I decided the time has come for me to get my own place. Originally, the goal was to rent an apartment. So I filled out an application for an apartment rental in Parkchester. And then I started to think, for the amount of money that I'm going to pay for rent, I can easily pay for a mortgage. Just so happens, as a municipal employee, I happen to belong to one of the largest municipal unions in the city of New York, which is District Council 37, and they have 150,000 members. Okay, so District Council 37 has a first-time homeowners program where they help their members to become homeowners. Okay. Now, before you begin your search, you need to define what you're looking for. Okay. And you have to be very clear on that. Are you looking for a house? And if you're looking for a house, what type of house? Are you looking for a one-family house? Are you looking for a two-family house or a three-family house? Are you looking for a condo? Are you looking for a co-op? If you're looking for a condo or co-op, how many bedrooms? And then, is there a specific area where you wish to start your search? Now, there is a difference between a condo and a co-op or a cooperative. Okay. In a cooperative, it's a situation you don't own the apartment or the unit as it's called. What it is, you own a portion of the building. And with a co-op, in order for you to purchase a co-op, you have to be approved by the co-op board before you purchase your co-op. If you do not have the approval of the co-op board, you cannot purchase a co-op in a building. Now, with a condominium, what it is, you own the apartment or the unit, so to speak. So once you define what you want to purchase, and then once you decide where you're going to do your search, you need to gather a team. Okay. Why you need a team? Because you're not going to be able to do this by yourself. So you're going to need a few people and to help you to become a homeowner. Okay. First of all, you're going to need a good, capable real estate agent who will help you in your search. Now, what some real estate agents will do, will try to get you to sign a contract. Don't do it. And I'm going to tell you why. Because if you sign a contract, you're legally bound to that real estate agent. And it could be very hard to get out of the contract. So if you have a real estate agent that insists that you sign a contract to deal with them, go elsewhere. So you need a capable real estate agent. The next person you're going to need is a good real estate lawyer. Now, why do you need a lawyer? Because once you get close to the time for what's called a closing, that's when the property changes hands. You're going to need an attorney to go through all the legal documentation to make sure everything is in order, make sure that your rights are protected, make sure the seller's rights are protected. So you're going to need an attorney. Also, you're going to be dealing a great deal with the person from the bank in regards to your mortgage. Now, until you need a pre-approval for a mortgage. I'll explain that further in a few minutes. And then the final person you're going to need is someone to do an inspection. Why? Because if you're going to purchase property, you need someone to inspect it to make sure that it's structurally sound and there's no issues. Now I paid about $400 or $500 to perform an inspection of my property that I bought. I don't know how much an inspection will be. It could be more, it could be less. I really don't know. Okay. So now that I explained to you as far as what you need is your team, I'm going to continue. One day, I went to a seminar for people who were interested in becoming homeowners. So they had various people come. They had people from banks spoke. They had people from different real estate agents spoke. So there's a lot of documentation you're going to need to assemble. Okay. I'm going to explain to you what was the documentation that I need. Okay. I see there's two people watching this stream, and it may not be exciting for some people. Maybe others will catch it on the playback. Okay. So what is the documentation you're going to need for a pre-approval? First of all, you're going to need your tax returns. Now, in my case, I needed 2 years of my tax returns, which includes my W-2s and my tax forms. Also, pay stubs, in my case, covering 2 months. Also, you're going to need to produce bank statements. If you have credit cards, you're going to need to produce credit card statements. Okay? So you gather all that documentation. Okay. After I submitted all my documentation, I had an individual assessment. So I explained to the person what I was looking for. And in my case, I was looking for a 2-bedroom condo. Now, I had a lot of options, a lot of things to think about. For those of you who do not know, New York is divided into 5 boroughs, okay? So I thought about beginning my search in Brooklyn. The problem was in Brooklyn, it's too cost prohibitive. The same situation with Queens, the same situation with Staten Island and Manhattan, which left the Bronx. Because at the time, it was still possible to purchase property in the Bronx with a decent amount of money. Now it's going to be almost too pricey. Okay. So after I submitted all my documentation, I was pre-approved for a mortgage. And in my case, the pre-approval was about 3 to 4 times my annual salary. Now let me explain to you the importance of a pre-approval for a mortgage. Once you have that, then you can start the search to look for property. So I looked, and I saw a couple places. I saw a couple possibilities. Then I came across property which I currently own. So I submitted an offer. The offer was accepted. And I had to put down a down payment. Now let me explain to you what you're going to need in order to become a homeowner. First of all, you're going to need a stable income. You're going to need at least decent credit history. In my case, at the time, my credit score was near 700, which was considered very good. And I had saved like about $10,000 in order to get my property. Okay. Now there's different type of mortgages, there's different sources, Fannie Mae and others. So what I did was I submitted a down payment, which was for $5,000. Okay. After I submitted the down payment, I had to hire an inspector. I paid the inspector, and the inspector made his inspection. Okay. Now the hardest part in all this was to find a real estate agent that I was able to work with. Okay. Because part of the problem is I kept running across people who wanted me to sign a contract. So that was an issue. Another issue was that there was this one real estate agent. I'm sorry, he was this lazy as I don't know. He was just too lazy, and actually, I was doing the searching. Okay, so by the time he started to follow up on properties that I was interested, it was already sold or was under contract. Okay, so I had to change my real estate agent 3 times before I finally found a good real estate agent who happened to be a Boricua. Okay, so she worked with me, and another thing that's very helpful for homeowners if you get it's a down payment grant. Okay, and a down payment grant is basically it's a loan that's forgivable. And let me explain to you what that means. It's a loan. However, if you stay in the property for a certain length of time, the loan is fully forgivable, meaning you don't have to pay it back. So it's like a loan, but it's more like it's also a grant. So, so one day I went to a place in Brooklyn to get to secure a down payment grant. So I spent the entire day, and then guess what? I was approved for a 20,000 down payment grant. Now these are very important, and I'm going to tell you why. Because when you purchase property, there are closing costs which you're going to have to pay. Costs like you pay for the fees for the changing the deeds, and also other legal documentation, and there's also the attorney that's involved. There's also you have to pay the real estate agent to help you to get the property because they want to get paid. Okay, so the good news was with the down payment grant, I was able to pay the closing costs. Now the closing cost is anywhere from 5 to 7% of the total sales price. So let me just give you an example. Let's say you wish to purchase a home, and let's say the sales price is $400,000. That's an example. So, as I stated before, the closing costs are anywhere from 5 to 7%. Okay, so if you're talking about a home that's worth $400,000, the closing cost is anywhere from $20,000 to $28,000. Now, I just so happened to purchase a 2-bedroom condominium in Rochester for $190,000. Okay. Now, the reason why that's very important, because now if you want to purchase a 1-bedroom unit in Rochester, you're going to be paying over $200,000 to start. So if we're talking about $190,000, and at 7%, that's $13,300. Okay, so excuse me. So I made an offer October 2017. I had to wait until January the following year to close on the property. Why? Because there are several things that have to be taken care of. one of the big issues is the transfer of property and the other documents that needed to be signed, that needed to be prepared. So finally, I was given a date for a closing. Now, let me explain this to you. When it comes to a closing date, be prepared to spend at minimum 2 hours, because you're going to get a huge pile of documents that you're going to need to sign. Okay. And also, the seller needed additional time to get the home ready. So in order to compensate me, I was given some extra money. So in January the 25th, 2018, I had my closing date. I signed all the documents, and the deed was transferred to me. And that is how I became a homeowner. This coming January will make it 5 years that I have been a homeowner. Okay. And of course, as a homeowner, you have different responsibilities. Okay. It's not like when you rent an apartment, and if there's a problem, with the plumbing, or there's a problem with the sink or whatever, you can call. You can call, and I see we have Don Armando in the chat. Que lo que? How you doing, sir? Let me just drop the link so you can join, and maybe you might have a couple of questions. Okay. Excuse me. Okay. So when you rent, if there's a problem, you can call the management. However, when you are a homeowner, okay, cool. When you're a homeowner, that means you gotta call and you gotta get the plumber to fix the plumbing. You gotta go to fix whatever internal structural structural repairs to the apartment. Now, here in Rochester, the building management is responsible, say, for the outside of the building. Also, if I needed to have anything heavy, they can come to remove it. Also, there's certain restrictions as far as how to remove garbage. Okay. And of course, in every condominium complex, they have their rules. Okay. Some of the rules is, of course, you cannot play loud music after a certain time. Also, you cannot own a dog. Okay, because for the reason is, if you own a dog, not everyone picks up after themselves. And I see here we have another comment. I agree. Okay. Now, what people do to get around that regulation, they state that the dog is an emotionally support animal. And somehow Rochester North is okay with that. Why? Don't ask me. I don't know. I don't own a dog. And really, I don't think I will be a good dog. I mean, I would like to have a dog, but I don't know if I have the dedication. First of all, you got to take the dog out for a walk, And then you got to make sure that you pick up after the dog. You got to feed the dog and you got to bathe the dog and you make sure the dog is properly groomed and what have you. And then there's a question about getting the dog neutered. So therefore, you don't produce any offspring. Oh, good evening, Kayfe. I'm sorry to hear that you're not feeling well. I hope you feel better. Um, but anyway, um, and there's certain benefits um, being a homeowner as compared um, as a renter. And I see here we have some more comments. Okay. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry to hear about your stomach hurting. Maybe something that you ate, or maybe something that didn't agree with you. That I don't know. But in any case, there's certain tax advantages um, when you own a home. Sometimes you can, depending on what your tax situation, you can have the some of the interest charge, um, taxes declared when you file. Okay. Now, what are the advantages of owning a condo as compared to owning a house? Okay. When you own a condominium, when it snows, you don't have to worry about shoveling that snow. It is the job of the good people of Rochester North to do the shoveling of the snow. Okay? And I see here we have the presence, excuse me, of the angry biracial. Good evening, sir. How are you doing? Thank you very much for stopping by, sir. Hopefully one day um, you can join the panel whenever you do decide. The welcome mat is always here for you, Angry. So another advantage. Okay. While there's some repairs that you have to do yourself, there are others that you don't. Okay. Also here in Rochester, they do a very good job cleaning the streets. They do a very good job keeping the streets clean. They do a good job as far as removing the litter and what have you. And what I love about Rochester here, every year on Christmas time, they have a beautiful Christmas display. Okay. What are some of the disadvantages of being owning a condo? Well, here, like I said before, you cannot own a dog unless it's a support animal. Well, thank you very much, sir, for your support, and I will continue to keep you in my prayers. We all know why it's necessary, but we all got to support each other. And I'm glad to see you. Just be safe. Now, another disadvantage is here in Rochester, they don't allow you to own a washing machine. I think the problem has to do with the water pressure, and also another thing to bear in mind: these buildings are old. Okay, these buildings are 80 years old. Okay, in fact, these buildings were built before World War II. And let me just give you a little history behind Rochester. Um, this is a planned community, and it was planned for the GIs that was returning from World War II. So, and actually, this whole community at one time was owned by the life insurance company Metropolitan Life. until they sold it back in the 70s, I think, or was it the 80s? That I'm not too sure. I'm gonna have to do some research on the subject. Okay. Now, just to give you an idea, um, in Parkchester, believe it or not, we have three different building managements. Okay. So we have Parkchester North, who's happened to be my building manager. We also have Parkchester South, and we have Parkchester Preservation. Now, Parkchester Preservation, they are rental units, but in all fairness, um, all these apartments or units, as they're called, they're all condominiums. The difference is that some of them are rented out. Okay. And actually, what some people would do, they will purchase an apartment or a unit for the purpose of renting it to another person and getting rent. Okay. And then you have other people who own a unit and rent a unit and use it as a means to generate some income. And actually, I was given the option of renting out um, my unit, and I decided not to. And I'm going to tell you why. The problem with renting a unit is, first of all, you can't rent it to to just anyone. What you do need to do is first find someone that's willing to pay rent and make sure that they do pay rent, which means do properly vetting um, the person and at times do a credit check. To be perfectly honest, I didn't want to go through all that, so I decided, you know what? Nah, it's okay. I'll just, instead of renting, I'll just um live in my unit. Okay. Now, really, the original plan was my mother was to move in with me because my mother was getting on age. She was in her mid 80s, so I wanted my mother to leave her neighborhood, which was East Harlem, otherwise known as El Barrio. So therefore, my mother can spend her last days um, in a peaceful environment. Um, she did get to visit my apartment once, but she never wanted to move in. So, so what I had to do was spend time uh, between Parkchester and my mother's home, which was in Manhattan, until the day that my mother passed away. And to be perfectly honest, the fact that when my mother did pass away, I actually had my own place because I don't think I can continue to live in the same place where my mother died. But she does live in my heart. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I see that there's 5 people watching this stream, and I just want to say to those 5 people, thank you very much. What I'm going to do is I drop the link again. Okay, I'm going to wait a few more minutes. I see now there's 6 people. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. If no one joins the panel, I'm going to end it. So if anyone has have any questions in regards to becoming a homeowner, you're more than free to enter your questions in the chat. Also, you're more than free to join the panel if you want to ask me any questions. And to be perfectly honest, for me, to be a homeowner was a major achievement. And I'm going to tell you why. Not everyone is blessed to have the means to get their own home, to purchase their own home. Okay. And one thing we need to do as a community, we Latinos, we need to strive to do our very best and to achieve. It's not every day that Latinos actually purchase a home, whether it be a house, whether it be a condominium, whether it be a co-op, or what have you. And we need more Latinos to actually become homeowners. Now, can everyone do this? No. Should everyone do this? I'm not going to say yes or no, but it does require a lot of things for you to consider. First of all, one thing you have to bear in mind is that you're going to be paying a mortgage. Okay. If you're a co-op or a condo, you're also going to be paying what's called common charges or maintenance charges. Okay. So you have to worry about making sure that you pay your mortgage. You have to worry about making sure that you pay your maintenance charges, and then there's other things like your utilities, your cable, and your food. Now, luckily for me, I don't have to worry about water or heat because that's included in the common charges. I do have to pay for electricity. Okay, so and of course I have to pay for food. I mean, the one good thing about living alone is that I only have to shop for one person, me. And to be perfectly honest, when it comes to food, I have simple taste. Okay. Now, one day I will. Well, I don't know. Actually, no. I'm not good. Okay, I thought about doing like a tour of my apartment, but I don't think it's a good idea because unfortunately you have weirdos out there. They will try to stalk you and whatnot. Okay. So if you want to see what my apartment looks like, you're gonna have to visit me. Okay. So and like I said before, this coming January will make it 5 years that I've been a homeowner, and it's one of the proudest moments in my life. I have 3 moments which I felt that I really shined. The first moment was when I graduated from college with a bachelor's degree. And I'm happy to say that I'm the first member of my family to graduate from college with a bachelor's degree, which is a major achievement considering that both my parents did not have the opportunities to get a complete education. They were poor economically, but my parents taught me values which are priceless. So the first thing extreme proud moment was that I was able to graduate from college with a bachelor's degree. The second thing that made me proud is when I got my first promotion with the agency that I'm currently employed at. Okay. So I went from a fraud investigator level 1 to a fraud investigator level 2. Okay. So the fact that my mother was alive to see me to get my first promotion was meaningful. Unfortunately, my father did not live to see me get promoted. He saw my promotion from heaven because unfortunately my father passed away in 2012 and I got my promotion the following year. The third moment in my life when I had achieved a great deal of success was that when I became a homeowner. Okay. And in our family, um, out of the 8 children which my mother raised, 3 of us became homeowners. First was my oldest sister Doris, who unfortunately passed away 2.5 years ago. Then my younger brother Emmanuel, who became a homeowner, and then I did when I purchased my condominium. So those are the 3 proud moments of my life. And I have to say that I'm happy that I achieved those major milestones. Why? Because I was determined not to give up. I was determined to get a bachelor's degree, which I did. Okay. I was determined to get a promotion, which I achieved. Okay. Considering that I tried for, let's see, I would say maybe 4 or 5 years. Okay. And I was able to get my first promotion. Now, one thing about my job title series, it's a broad banded title, meaning that promotion to the next level is at the discretion of management. Well, management saw fit to promote me from a fraud investigator level 1 to a fraud investigator level 2. And it meant a difference of several $1,000s. And then the third moment, which was a stellar moment in my life, when I became a homeowner. And my mother was able to come visit my home. I was hoping that my mother would move in, but she did not. And when everything is said and done, you have to respect people's wishes as long as they have the mental faculties. So the fact of the matter is, my mother was alive to see me get my bachelor's degree. My mother was alive to receive the news of my first promotion. And my mother was alive um, to see me become a homeowner. So what I'm going to do at this point, I'm going to discuss what's going to be the topic for tomorrow. Okay. Tomorrow's topic will be how can we improve communication among the sexes? And why are we having this topic? Because unfortunately, at times, we men do not understand the ladies very well. And you ladies have trouble understanding us. So, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to share some information in regards to what we can do to improve communication skills. So, hopefully, both sexes would be on the same page, so to speak. Okay. Now, on Friday, okay, well, first of all, let me say tomorrow I'm going to be live at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, and 7 o'clock Central Standard Time. Now, one thing I did neglect to mention, KFIT does have her own YouTube channel called uh, Wine and FaceTime. She's usually on Saturdays at 8 o'clock. And usually a lot of the people that appear on this platform also appear on her platform as well. And we do talk about many issues. Some of them a little spicy, some of them a little controversial, but it's always educational. Also, I just want to let everybody know that the Angry Biracial also has a YouTube channel. Okay, and with him, he airs a great deal of material on a regular basis. So you really have to like, in order to be notified, once you subscribe to him, you really need to hit the bell notification to all. So therefore, whenever he does prepare content, you will be able to either catch it live or catch it on the playback. And also, someone that was here on the chat earlier, Magic Molata, she has her own channel as well. So I'm going to ask you if you're not done so, please subscribe to her channel, like and hit the bell notification to all. So therefore, whenever she does propose content, you will have the opportunity to catch it live. James Map also has a YouTube channel. So I'm going to ask you if you're not done so, please subscribe to this channel, hit the bell notification all. And I believe he's going to be on Friday around 10 o'clock. So I'm going to ask you if you're not done so, please subscribe to his channel. Also, Donamando, he has his own YouTube channel as well. So what I'm going to ask you to do is, if you're not done so, please subscribe to his channel and hit the bell notification to all. So therefore, whenever he does prepare any content, you will have the opportunity to catch it live or catch it on the playback. Okay, so Don Armando, I'm getting ready to wrap up, so I guess hopefully I'll be catching you on tomorrow's stream. And I guess most people are going to be watching this on the playback. So now, as far as next week, we're going to have a two-part series completely in Spanish, which will be talking about what we can learn among us Latinos, meaning the Latinos that were born and raised on outside the United States and immigrated to the United States. So the first part is we're going to learn what we can learn from the Latinos that were born and raised from outside the U.S. Okay. Then the second part would be we're going to discuss what they can learn about us, Latinos who were born and raised in the mainland. Now, the reason why I schedule this is that it is an attempt to try to have some sort of understanding between our two separate groups. Because the truth of the matter is this: many of us who are part of the Latino diaspora, we don't have a clear understanding regarding Latinos that were born outside the U.S. And they, in turn, they do not understand our situation. And part of the problem is that some of the mainland Latinos, for whatever reasoning, do not speak Spanish, or if they do speak Spanish, it's usually like a very I don't want to say bad, but more like a gringo version of Spanish, if they can speak it at all. Okay. So now I'm just going to share the same information in Spanish. Oh, by the way, the two-part series is going to be on Tuesday, August the 30th, the first part, and Thursday, September the 1st. And the airing on both these live shows will be at 8 o'clock. So next week, we're going to go back to our regular schedule, where it's going to be Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Tuesdays and Thursday will be at 8 o'clock. Friday will be a little earlier at 7 o'clock. Now I'm just going to say a few words in Spanish. La próxima semana vamos a tener una serie sobre nosotros los latinos. La primera parte vamos a aprender qué nosotros sabemos con respecto de los latinos que nacieron afuera de los Estados Unidos. Y la segunda parte, que ellos pueden aprender de parte de nosotros, que nacieron aquí en los Estados Unidos. El mismo motivo por eso es tratar que nosotros podamos entender un poco más sobre nuestros hermanos latinos que nacieron afuera de los Estados Unidos. Porque uno de los problemas es que ellos no entienden o conocen sobre nosotros, y nosotros no sabemos entender sobre ellos. ¿Y qué pasa? Que hay veces hay choques porque por falta de conocimiento y falta de entendimiento. Entonces, vamos a tener esa serie será completamente en español. Sin embargo, si hay latino o persona que quiere subir al panel y que habla solamente en inglés, bienvenido. No será ningún problema. I just want to let everybody know that if there's anyone that appears on the chat or want to join the panel, but they don't speak Spanish, it's not going to be a problem. The whole point is, let's see what we can learn from each other. Okay. And then Friday would be open topics. Now this Friday as well at 7 o'clock is going to be open discussion. So I'm going to be discussing several things that are on my mind. Okay. Also, I'm going to give an opportunity to those who wish to join the panel, and if they have anything that's on their minds, they'll have an opportunity to do so. Okay. So seeing that there's no one is going to join the panel, I'm going to wrap this up. Okay. I know that apparently more people will catch this on the playback. And some people might find it boring, but okay. And I see here we have, so okay, so before, okay. So I'm just going to read the disclaimer. The views of those who appear on the panel, not necessarily those of the host of the channel. Any attempt to copy the material without the consent of the host of the channel is prohibited. By appearing on the call, you waive your right to the images, right to the image and the image. Some of the views that people might hold might be considered offensive to others. If you do not like the channel, you can block the content, you can block the channel. And let's see who we have here.
Hey, how you doing?
Good evening.
Good evening, Don Jose. How's everybody? How are you doing
Oh, fine. How?
today?
Oh, I'm doing fine. I don't know if you caught any of
I caught a
the
little
stream.
bit. I caught a little bit of it of how you were telling how you got your condo in Parkchester.
Yes.
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 Yes. As you know, I have family that live in Parkchester, and I had a
Mm-hmm.
friend. Well, I guess he lives out in Long Island right now, but he owned a condo in Parkchester as well.
Okay.
So I liked the info that you was giving on how you. Well, I only caught a little bit of it, but I like the info that you was giving on how you on the process and rules in Parkchester on how to own a condo in that community.
Yeah. Well, the fact of the matter is, if you're going to own property, whether it be a house, whether it be a condo, whether it be a co-op or what have you, you need to define what you're looking for. Number one.
All right.
And then number two, you have to bear in mind that you're going to be paying this mortgage every month
Right.
for 30 years.
Yes.
Okay. And if you own a co-op or a condo, you have to include the common charges. So you have to make sure that you're going to be able to pay for that, plus take care of the other bills. If you're not
All
in a
right.
position to do so, don't even bother.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Because if you don't pay your mortgage, that means you can go into foreclosure, and that's really going to hurt. That's really going to hurt your credit history.
Right.
So do you have any questions?
Okay. So I do have a question because maybe in the long run, I'm not saying now, but I'm saying like maybe when I get older or whatever the case may be, I
Sure.
would like to at least buy a condo property in Parkchester.
Okay.
So since I basically used to hang out there in my teen and early 20s, so
Mm-hmm.
so how did you go with the process on ownership of a condo in Parkchester? Because my
Okay.
brother at the time, I'm talking about, it was 2005. He wanted to he was actually looking at condos and he was thinking of getting one in Parkchester at the time.
Uh-huh.
So what was your steps that you went to get your condo in Parkchester?
Okay. Well, first of all, as a municipal employee, there's a program where they help the members to become homeowners. So I took advantage of that.
Okay.
One thing you're going to need a team to help you in your process. And
All
that
right.
team will consist of a real estate agent.
All right.
You're going to need a capable real estate attorney.
All right.
You're going to need someone that you're going to be dealing when it comes to all the paperwork regarding your mortgage.
All right.
And you're going to need someone to inspect it.
Okay.
So that's basically your team. Now, once you get the pre-approval for the mortgage, then you're good to go to start looking. When I mean pre-approval, it's kind of like a loan, so to speak.
All
And
right.
usually, when you get a pre-approval for a mortgage, it's usually 3 to 4 times your annual salary.
All right.
So you have to bear that in mind when you start looking for your property. Now, I know for a fact there was no way I was going to get a house because there was no
All
way I'm
right.
going to get a pre-approval for a house. Co-op, I was not all that crazy, so I decided on a condo. So once you have your pre-approval and you have a capable real estate agent, you start looking, and hopefully your real estate agent will be looking as well. And then you'll
All
be
right.
going to different places, and then hopefully someone you'll be able to make an offer which they will accept. So you have another question?
Okay. All right. Like, say, like when I do get a condo in Parkchester.
Hmm.
All right. The park wherever do you have like if a person drives or anything like that, do they have like a designated parking spot, or how does that work? I mean, from other owners
Okay,
that you spoken to.
they do have parking lanes. However, I think the fee is like $150 a year.
All right.
Okay, because let me tell you something. Parking in Parkchester, if you do not have a reserved spot, it's very difficult to find.
Trust me, I know, and I don't even drive. I mean,
so
I
you,
know
so
because
you, yeah,
yeah, because
go ahead.
I'm actually very familiar with the area of Parkchester because that's where I used to hang out.
Hmm.
And I could show you the old Parkchester until the Bangladeshis moved in. So, you know,
Yeah.
Parkchester, like I guess is more tame now, but back in my day when I was a teenager, it was the place to be.
Hmm. Yeah.
It was like to me, my generation, like almost like a second Times Square.
Hmm.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean at the time.
Well, particularly, well, in this, okay, and I see, and actually, it's still a good place because, like on Tuesday night, they have like outdoor concerts.
Yep. And I know
So
one question I gotta ask. You know
sure,
where you know where the Burger King is at, right?
yes.
Is Ellie's still there?
That I don't know. I mean, I've never seen Ellie's unless it's one of those businesses that shut down with the C-19 situation.
All right, yeah, because I remember. Well, before C-19, Ellie's used to be around the spot where Boston Market used to be, and then they moved to, like where the like on the side where Burger King is at. So I went there with my that was the last time I went there was with my wife because I went to a Bangladeshi spot like well I can't really say where it was at, but I guess it will still be in the confines of Parkchester. But I
Okay.
went to like a Bangladeshi restaurant, but my wife she did not like it because of the smell, turned her off. So I actually took her to Ellie's instead.
Yeah. Um, actually, they do use curry, and sometimes curry may not have a pleasant smell.
Yeah, and yeah, and that's what my wife smelled, and she was like she just got turned off by it.
Well, yeah, well, yeah, well, we do have a strong um, East Asian community over here in Parkchester. I mean, we also
Yeah.
have some Dominicans as well.
Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah. So, but one thing to bear in mind, you're gonna have real estate agents that's gonna ask you to sign a contract. Don't do
All
it,
right.
and I'm gonna tell you why.
Okay.
Because if you do, it's very hard to break the contract, and sometimes it takes away the incentive of the real estate agencies to do their job.
All right.
Yeah. In fact, one of the real estate agencies I had to deal with was Dominican, but he just didn't move fast enough for me.
Yeah.
And
I've,
to be
I've
honest, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I have heard that. I mean, with a lot of with a lot of people in my people group that they sometimes don't move fast enough. No offense
Yeah,
to my Dominicans, but some people they just don't move fast enough when it comes to business.
yeah. Uh, just be careful because some of those, because some of those Dominicans are gonna, it's not gonna look at that comment in a favorable light. So,
Well,
but
yeah, well,
yeah,
the Hispanotep ones, but hey,
yeah. I mean, basically, I had to change agents like 3 times before I got someone that I can work with.
all right,
So, but it was all good. I mean, I was able to get my own place, and it's history. So,
yep,
do you have any other questions?
yes, I do.
Well, okay.
Um, all right. So since you've been living in Parkchester and everything like that, how has your life changed?
Okay. Well, for one thing, um, it's a more peaceful neighborhood
All
than
right,
El Barrio. That's for sure.
right,
Also, a lot of people that live here, the professional people. In fact, a lot of the people that live here are also municipal employees, meaning
yeah,
most of them are, they're what we would call white collar, and they're, basically they work and then they come home, work and they come home. So,
yes,
it's a different type of environment altogether. Okay, I don't want to downgrade the people that live in El Barrio. It's just that it's a different environment altogether,
I know.
and so
Yeah, it's like my cousin. She actually, I actually have like two of my cousins that actually live out there, and
okay,
they're actually in the professional field. One is an oral surgeon, and one of my other cousins recently, well, I guess it was like maybe years ago, but she recently retired from Verizon because she was up there and she actually
okay,
did her due as far as working in Verizon.
hmm,
Yeah.
okay, okay. I'll say this much: property here has gone up considerably. Okay,
Yeah.
for what I pay for a 2 bedroom, you're not going to get a one
Hmm.
bedroom now. You're not.
All right.
Okay. And that's before they actually build the national station here in Parkchester. When they once they actually get started and then they completed it, you're gonna see 2 bedroom condos selling at 300,000 and above.
Yeah.
and unfortunately, people are not going to be able to afford. Some people are not be able to afford the rent over here in Buckchester.
Yeah. I mean, I could see that problem actually happening because if everything's going up, but then I don't know. I just think that in certain aspects and everything like that, I mean, the culture or whatever the case may be, it wasn't the culture when others was growing up in New York. People, some of them, they minded their business and everything like that, but people were more helpful to each other and everything. And even if a person didn't like each other, you actually had the respect
Uh-huh.
between that person. Right now, disrespect and people who are more miserable is at an all-time high. And
Yep.
then you have certain people that want to act like, oh, that we live in a nice neighborhood, but when the fact is they're living in a delusion.
Mhm.
So that's how I see it.
Yeah, but okay, one of the problems, you know, with with our community is that we have certain individuals that don't have any vision to achieve. I mean, they just want to basically live paycheck to paycheck, or just they're more concerned about the party Friday night and Saturday night, or who they're going to smash and what have you. So,
Oh yeah.
uh, and that's been discussed by a couple of YouTube creators. Radical Latino had discussed it at some point. Denise has also discussed it as well. And unfortunately, she's gotten a lot of uh, hatred for stating that.
I mean, if you actually look at it, if a person's going to hate about what if they're doing if about the topics that you just discussed, 9 times out of 10, certain the people who are hating are the ones that actually partake in that lifestyle. Sorry to say, but if
Yeah.
you actually look at it, if you hate if you hate somebody, right, just because they said something about your lifestyle or the type of lifestyle that you're living, right? And if you don't
Hmm.
really take it up with open criticism or anything like that without being defensive, then maybe you could grow from that settings. But if you can't really take that open criticism and you just want to be defensive and everything like that, how we as a people are going to learn?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And I heard this talking about we're the largest minority in this country. We're the largest. We're the largest. We're the best. Whatever. Okay. But with all of that, how many of us are homeowners? How many of us are leading players in business, in the sciences, in technology? Not too many of us. I mean, many of us are simply content to be the janitors, the laborers, and what have you. And those jobs
Right.
are eventually going to disappear.
I mean, yeah, if you actually look at it, because it's not like how, like in my father's generation or whatever the case may be, that people had the blue collar jobs and then they actually made a living and they bought a house and stuff like with it. It's like
Hmm.
it's like right now, a person might be a janitor and they might have that job set for life, but like for future generations, they might not even have um that gen that how should I say that job, that generational job, because I'm just saying this because the job culture is so cutthroat. It's to the point that certain people that thought that it was going to have lifelong jobs, but they may not even have a lifelong job in the future. Sorry to say.
Yeah. Now, earlier in the beginning of the stream, I shared a video where there was this person who worked in children's services. She got fired because she told a 14-year-old girl to be a 304 in the foster care system.
Wow.
Yeah. And that bothered me. And I'm going to tell you why. I was a caseworker in the foster care system for 5 years. Okay.
Oh, all right.
And actually, what I did was I prepared these people to become foster parents. And I tried to impress on them that these children have gone through a great deal of trauma. You're talking about children that will be physically abused, sexually abused, neglected in many ways. So they look on these people
As their
to look
saviors.
for the exactly. So when you have someone to tell a 14-year-old girl who's a child to be a 304, do you know what kind of damage you're causing that child?
I mean, yeah. Like, okay, since you worked in the foster care system, why is it in this country, right?
Yeah.
We've been hearing the same narrative for like maybe 80 or 90 years, right? That you put kids in the foster or orphanage system or whatever the case may be, right? And then there's always sexual abuse that's happening. So my thing is that how come in these avenues or whatever the case may be, you're not really screening the workers who are being around kids or whatever the case may be. So that will not be how should I say commonplace in these institutions. What is your thoughts about that?
Okay. The last time I worked in the foster care system was back in 1999. And I can tell
Right.
you this much. We had to go through an investigation
All right.
where when we had to make sure that there was no allegations of abuse and neglect in our files.
All right.
Now, I don't know what's happening today.
All right.
Okay. Also, let's bear in mind this situation happened in Texas. In fact, it happened in Houston, and I wish Ramon was here, so you might be able to share some even light regarding what's the state of the foster care system in Texas. Even though I don't think he lives in Houston, I think he lives somewhere else. So it would have been great if Ramon was able to share some insight of that.
All right.
So to be perfectly honest, I don't have an explanation. Okay, I will say this much: when it comes to New York,
Mm-hmm.
everything is by civil service exam. Now, as
Yeah.
part of the process, after you pass the exam, you actually get hired. There should be some sort of system. The med check and see if there's no allegations of abuse or neglect. Because if it was, you could not work in you could not work in foster care. So I really got at a loss as far as why this happened.
Right.
So, anything else on your mind?
Oh yeah, but this is aside from the homeowner topic and the foster care topic.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So in this times that we living in with political upheaval, Democrats against Republicans, Republicans against Democrats, and certain people who are just tired of the partisan politics. What is your stance on this day and age, the politics, and basically the the disunity of people in general? What are your thoughts about it?
Both parties suck.
I
Okay.
mean, I could actually agree with that.
Okay, because first of all, if you take a look at the Democrats, okay, when Biden got in, um, we were going to have the $15 an hour minimum wage. We will have student loan forgiveness. We would have a lot of things that the Democrats promise. But all they can do is talk about making sure that the genders are allowed to flow, and that we have to accept people who are transgender, no matter what, and that the children must be exposed to this transgender doctrine, and so that's the only thing the Democrats can come with. The Republicans are not better, okay?
All
Because the
right.
Republicans are not for the people either. In fact, really, neither party is for the people. But what you're going to have to do is the following, and
All right.
vote for the person that's going. Vote for the person that's going to put more money into your pocket and bring some sort of sense of normalcy. I don't see the Democrats doing that.
I
And to be
mean,
honest, I'm not sure the Republicans can do it either.
to me, it's like I agree that in the retrospect and everything like that both parties suck, because when you're Republican, for the Republicans, and I know people who are diehard Republicans, and
Yeah.
they make excuses for Trump or whatever the case may be when the evidence is staring right in your face. Then when you
Hmm.
actually talk to these fake political commentators that do not really know the inner workings of the party, they just going off their emotions. They want to say a whole bunch of stuff and use the alpha male doctrine or how they're alpha just because they're Republican and everything. I'm like, first of all, if you want to go and declare that you're an alpha male and everything, there are certain things that alpha males do and alpha males don't. And one thing that I know that alpha males do is don't go
Hmm.
on how shall I say, on the internet and make up lies of history, whatever the case may be, so you could just get views. Because in the long run, you could say that you're alpha male or a Republican or whatever the case may be, and if you don't know your history, somebody's gonna call you out on it. We live in that age.
Yeah.
Another thing which I don't understand is that, well, I believe that the Democrats and the Republicans suck, is because you have one that they're with their agenda or whatever the case may be. Whether if you don't agree with it, you're a sellout. But yet, if you go with the Republicans, they want to come up and say that Republican communities are led better. Okay. And you want to push that Democrats is allowing crime. All right, so for the Republicans areas, we're not talking about the rich areas. We're talking about the poor areas that that you have people who are working hard and everything like that. Republicans made promises and then they lost their jobs. What about
Hmm.
them? I mean, what about the Republicans that they talk about, oh yeah, we got better communities, but yet half your voters died of fentanyl overdoses. So if fentanyl is actually killing people in quote unquote the gated or working class white communities, right?
Mm-hmm.
What, aside from blacks and Hispanics and Asians and everything, what are the Republicans are doing to go and save that generation from the fentanyl epidemic? And they could say, "Oh yeah, we're having all these stuff and everything like that," but I don't see anybody trying to solve like why these people are overdosing on fentanyl and everything like that. And no, I don't see anybody with a solution just to stop all these fentanyl deaths.
Because these parties are not are not solution oriented. It just basically, I mean, the Republicans basically said, from the beginning, they're not going to do anything so the Democrats could succeed. So, and then you
Okay.
have on the Democrat side, they cannot do anything because of two people, Kristen Sinema and Joe Manchin. So,
My thing is
and really,
my thing is
yeah,
that you don't want to do anything for for your fellow man to succeed, right? So my
mhm.
thing is this: if you want to do all this so you could spite people, and then you could tell lies or the partisan lies that everybody believes, and everybody gets riled up and disrespect one of each other. My thing is this: if you're so intent on your belief and on your lies and everything like that, that you want to go and mix your political beliefs with debauchery and racism. I'm talking about actually the Democrats and the Republicans. Because what a lot of people don't know is that you have a whole bunch of racist Democrats too. They're just not gonna tell you that.
Yeah.
They'll just go and give you the guys like, oh, we're nice and everything like that. But then if you see a strong black or Hispanic male that's not with the parties or anything like that, and then a person who has the beliefs of either a Democrat or Republican, they will try to destroy that mentally strong Hispanic or black male, because
Mhm.
they could have a mind of their own. They're not with the politics, and they could actually seek more solutions better than a political party can.
Yeah.
And then you will see those two political parties will try to create a campaign so they could actually tear this person's reputation, when the fact is they don't want to admit that they're not doing their jobs.
Mhm. The only solution with it would be a strong third party. Okay. Until then, it's just basically we're stuck with you know either with these two parties. That's why I'm saying we need to vote for the people that's going to put money in our pockets, who's going to be at least somewhat normal at at this point.
Right.
So but just to let you know, tomorrow night I'm going to be having a discussion regarding how to improve communication among the sexes, because sometimes it could be hard to understand us, whether it be male or female. So I'm going to be sharing some information and see how we can achieve that. Friday
Right.
is going to be open discussion, so basically anyone can just talk about whatever's on his mind. Now,
Oh yeah.
next week we're gonna have a two-part series regarding our community, what we can learn from the Latinos that came from outside the United States, and then what they can learn from us being Latinos that were born in here in the U.S. It'll be completely in Spanish. So
I'm down for that. I mean, I will actually would like to participate in that. I mean, even though I do speak bad Spanish, but I would like to actually. But a lot of people say that my Spanish is improving, so I would actually like to converse with other educated Spanish people, so therefore I could get their point of view also, and hopefully to
Yeah.
better my Spanish in the long run.
Well, believe me, I've been told I don't know how many times I sound more gringo than Latino, but you know. But in my case, I learned my Spanish late in life because my parents put so much emphasis that I learned English. But
Thank you. Well, yeah,
years,
that was the thing with my mother. My mother, she posed more emphasis in the English, and that's why my sister and me, we speak like my sister. She will understand Spanish, but she won't go around and speak it. Me, on the other hand, I actually had to learn my Spanish from hanging with the Dominicans in the street because at the end of the day, this is what happened, and this is what prompted me to learn Spanish more. When I was going to Catholic school at, at a young age, I went up and I was trying to get this girl's number, and she was like, "I'm Dominican." I was like, "Okay, me too." Like, I'm not gonna date you. I was like, "Why?" Because you don't speak my language. So I was like, hmm. That was a
ouch.
crossroads in my life. That was a crossroads in my life. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do whatever and anything to actually learn this language. So it actually took me 5 years to get like the crux on understanding, and I guess watching Spanish TV also helped. But it got to the point that I started learning Spanish to the point that my mother went up and was surprised that I was actually understanding what people was actually saying to me.
Okay.
So it was to the point that I was learning and learning and learning. Certain people, they'll try to put you down and everything. But my thing is that if you're gonna try and put a person down and you're supposed to be of the same community, they're like, oh, you were supposed to learn this by your mother and all this other stuff. But what a lot of people don't understand is that certain households don't have the same rules.
Yeah.
Meaning that I know a guy when I went to high school. I don't know if he's still alive, but I hope he is. His name
Yeah.
was he was just into rock and everything like that. And by all means, you will not know that person um was you will not know this person identity because he was so much into rock and roll. And his name was Vincent Tiburcio. So he was heavy into his rock and roll and everything like that. And me and him almost fell in that same category because he did not know Spanish at all and never been to the Dominican Republic.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
there's certain people that actually would fit in that category, but me, I would like to at least have like a conversation, with the immigrant experience and with the Hispanic American experience. So therefore, we could actually build off our experiences and become better people in the long run. And then we could actually teach the youth in some of these Latin American countries on what to expect when they come to the United States or Canada
Mhm.
instead of struggling like how our predecessors did.
Yeah. Now, truthfully speaking, the whole purpose behind that is to try to have some sort of understanding and a dialogue because let's keep it 1,000.
All
We
right.
have no clue regarding the Latinos that were born outside the U.S. We don't understand what they go through. They, in turn, they don't understand what our situation like and what our struggles are like. Okay, and sometimes there are conflicts because part of it it's because we don't understand each other and we don't know what the situation, and we have to we have to respect the fact that there are times where we're not, the best thing we can do when they're dealing with their issues is to just be in the
Mhm.
background and just provide support. But there'll be other times where we can unite, you know, as far as the benefit of our communities are concerned. So, what's your thoughts
Mhm.
about that?
I mean, I believe that too because what you were saying is that okay, that you have some Latin Americans who were born here that they do not know the experiences. But then there's another group that we're actually forgetting also is because you have some Latin Americans that know the experience because either they were actually raised partly here sometimes, and then there was raised partly over there because of certain people like in Latin America, they actually send their kids to live in that country, so therefore they could actually know what their parents went through, or actually learn the culture also. Because my generation, they actually did that with a lot of the youth when they were young. They either sent their kids to live in the Dominican Republic, so therefore they could know their family, their culture, and their surroundings. But I don't see certain people of my generation doing that with their kids, or
Mhm.
whatsoever the case may be, unless they actually have a residence in that country or they have somebody in that country. So when I was young, my mom sent me to the Dominican Republic when I was 2 years old. I lived with my
Mhm.
aunt for 2 years. I came back and I'm not going to go and say I was fluent in Spanish because I wasn't, but I understood everything in Spanish. Then when I
Okay.
went down south, I lost my Spanish. So the only thing I knew how to say was bendición tío, the original Spanish greeting. My
Yeah.
aunt used to sing to me in Spanish when she had a song called Los niños son de Cristo. Él es tu Salvador. Son joyas muy preciosa. Dag. So she used to sing that song to me every day. And I did not understand what she was saying until I actually had the full grasp of the Spanish. But then by then she passed away.
Yeah.
So
Okay. So,
yeah.
like I said before, hopefully we could get people like Ramon, Denise, who were born
Hmm.
outside the United States,
Yeah.
to share how what we can learn from them, and then people like you, me, um, also radical, what we can share with our fellow Latinos who came from outside the United States, because we both have different perspectives, and if we can share our perspectives, we can have more of an understanding and a deeper appreciation.
I believe that too. And well, I mean yeah. If anything, I'll try to invite some of my cousins to see if they're down with this discussion as well. Because I have
Okay,
some
cool.
cousins yes.
Okay. So I'm just gonna let you know that it's gonna be on next Tuesday and Thursday at eight
All
o'clock.
right. All
So
right.
So what I'll do is, of course, I'll send out my notification. Um,
Okay.
lately, I've been sending notification within a little private group.
All
Like
right.
I said, hopefully we can, hopefully we can have a meaningful discussion, and we can learn about each other, and we can appreciate each other and understand each other more.
All right.
Okay. So do you have anything else you wish to add before I start to wrap this up?
Well, no, sir. It's been a pleasure talking to you, Don Jose.
Okay. Well, thank you. We're not gonna have a backstage tonight. We might have a backstage tomorrow. We'll just have to wait and see. I do appreciate you stopping by. Now, I think you are one of my moderators, so and I've been spreading the word to my moderators. There's two more people that I do not want appear on this platform. They are
Okay. So,
hybrid. I'm sorry.
all right. So, who you said hybrid?
Yes,
All right.
and Mulata Vanguard. Now, let me explain to you why. What's the issue with these two?
Okay.
There have been accusations of sexual harassment
They
levied
they not
against.
they levied
I'm
against
sorry.
you.
No, actually, he has issues with me now.
Okay.
Okay. In fact, um, when I did my stream regarding feminism,
Right.
he has sent emails stating that he did not want me to address the issue
All
because
right.
he felt
So,
that it would do more harm than good.
okay.
Also,
So,
yeah,
all right. So, why would you talk about that? You think they will do more harm than good when the fact is, I mean, it's a discussion, and you, I mean, as a content creator, you're just bringing up a light, which is actually a social issue that certain people actually deal with in the workplace and in their personal life. So, how much harm would it do if you actually expose and talk about it like like women and gentlemen that we are for the for that discussion? That's what is mind boggling to me.
because they fear any woman that has an opinion
Hmm.
that is strong. Okay. In
All
fact,
right.
they were the ones that were calling any female that didn't agree with a feminist or being a lesbian.
I hate those type of people, and it's sad because it actually shows the limited education that they have or the limited view that they have in the world because you know some people they suffer from ignorance, but then there's certain people that will try to rise above the ignorance and see how other people live. But then if a person does not have your view, you will actually go and make a slur on their sexuality just because they don't have your preconceived notion on what a woman is supposed to be. I don't get it.
Mhm. You know what, Don Armando? It's best you don't try to figure it out because there's no rhyme or reason. So, and in fact, there are allegations that they have made death threats regarding another YouTube creator.
Oh, okay. So death threats. So
Yeah,
all right. I mean, I get those every so often, but my thing is this: you're making death. A person is making death threats just because they said something that you don't like. I mean, to me, I could actually say that it's sad that we have to live in in times like that, but yet you just don't know how far a person will actually take it. Meaning that, for example, you could have a person that'll tell you, "Oh, we're gonna do this." The next thing you know, you ignore them as long enough, right? Because you
Mm-hmm.
whitelist them. The next thing you know, they'll do the ultimate most, maybe because of a hacker or something like that, and they'll try to find where you live, or they'll try to find your information. Maybe who's your long lost cousin or whatever the case may be. Some of these people do not really have lives to begin with. So my thing is that if they're gonna try to do all that info just to make good on a death threat, just over an opinion that you had, well, that person is not mentally right in their head. And second of all, it's just some bad karma. It's just a bad society that we're living in. So
Yeah.
I just hate to say it.
And not only that, I've seen some of my videos in his file.
Okay.
Okay. Now I got news for him. If he tries to play any of my content without my permission, he'll be hit with a copyright strike. That's the reason why you see this on the scroll now. And
All right.
unfortunately, all he does is reaction videos, and a lot
All
of
right.
it is anti-female. Why? Because he cannot accept the fact that a woman has his own mind, a woman has her own views, and she's a feminist or a lesbian.
All right. So you said the first person is hybrid and the second one is
Mulatto Vanguard.
Mulatto Vanguard.
Yes.
All right.
Because
Yeah.
there's no room in my platform for these individuals.
I agree.
Because I'm trying to provide a safe place for everyone to speak. And right now, I'm trying to encourage more of the ladies to join my panel. So I'm trying to come up with topics they can relate to.
All right. Well,
But for
I'll try to
saying that,
I'll try to tell more of my lady friends to actually come and visit your channel, so therefore they could actually feel at home also.
I would appreciate it. But somehow, by simply trying to talk about topics that ladies can deal with, I'm a feminist. I'm feminine.
You know what? Let them talk, because at the end of the day, I face worse drunk than what these
I understand that.
trolls
I
have.
understand. But you know what? That's why, you know what? They can talk all they want about me, but not on my platform.
Yeah,
Because
that's a good rule to have.
because when everything is said, yeah, because when everything's said and done, I know I dictate who gets on my platform, and I dictate what I will talk about.
Right.
But in any case, Don Armando, it was a pleasure speaking with you.
It was a pleasure
Unfortunately,
speaking with you too.
I didn't get your stream. It ended so
I
quickly.
mean, it was a very
Was
it was a very short stream because nobody really came on. So I'll try, I guess, to organize it a little bit better, so therefore I could actually have guests. So I'll actually try to work on my next stream, so therefore we could have a meaningful conversation like you and I have.
okay.
Yeah.
What I would suggest the following: if you're definitely gonna have a stream when you're gonna have an open discussion, try to focus on a few things that you want to talk about.
All right.
And it could be anything, whether it be sports, I mean, whether it be politics or whatever, and just spend some time speaking on each topic. And sometimes the guests appear late. I mean, there's been a couple of times that I'll be speaking, but I'll be by myself for over an hour. But the thing is, I'm prepared to talk and share information. So at least, it's a monologue for a while, but it's until other people show up. Well, anyway, thank you very much for stopping by, and I'm going to ask the audience, if you're not done so, please subscribe to Don Armando's channel. He does have content, so I ask that you show some love to an individual who's trying to be a positive influence in these YouTube streets. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Don Jose.
All right, have a good night.
You too.
Okay, take care. Now, I'm going to state my final remarks. I understand that it was not all that well viewed. Maybe more people will catch it on the playback. It happens sometimes. But I just wanted to share with you, everybody, the process to become a homeowner, and to share with you my life story. So we're going to have another stream tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. And we're going to be talking about how to improve communication among the sexes. So I'm going to share some information, and hopefully it will help us for us to communicate more effectively. Just want to thank everybody on the chat for all their remarks. I thank Don Armando for appearing on the panel. And I thank all of you for allowing me to come into your devices. So that being said, I'm going to close the same way I always close. Do not let the errors of the past damage your future, and we must do everything possible to minimize our content with the mentally intellectually challenged, because if we fail to do so, we'll be affected by the stupidity and mass insanity. That being said, this has been another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron, wishing you a very pleasant night and peace.
Be strong.